Welcome to Dig Deep, the mining podcast. In this podcast, we go deep into mining news, hot topics, and live interviews with mining professionals and leading figures in the mining industry. Introducing your host, Rob Tyson, founder and director of Mining International and Mining International Executive, a leading global mining recruitment and headhunting agency.
Hi, mining community. Welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep, the mining podcast. And we have a returning guest who was on probably over 3 years ago now. So that was episode 46, which was recorded back in October 2019. So we have Darren Stralow, who's the Chief Executive Officer at Bellevue Gold, who are a junior miner who has discovered an exceptionally high-grade gold system in the world-class Goldfields mining district in one of highest grade and fast-growing gold projects in Western Australia. Darren is an experienced mining executive and a qualified mining engineer with over 20 years industry experience, and has been a member of the senior management team at Northern Star Resources for over 10 years before joining the helm at Bellevue Gold. He's going to give us an overview of the company and what the outlook is going to look like moving forward, going into 2023 and beyond. So let's welcome Darren to the podcast. How you doing, Darren?
Mate, I'm doing very well. It's great to see you again. It does feel almost like yesterday, 2019, when we chatted, but it was a lifetime ago. So glad to be talking to you again, Rob.
Yeah, certainly. And obviously a lot of things have happened since then. So, and obviously you've moved on and you're now obviously the CEO of Bellevue Gold. For those that are obviously may have not listened to that podcast three years ago, just wondered if you can give us a quick overview of your career and of yourself before we speak about Bellevue Gold.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm a mining engineer, as you said. I was trained at the WA School of Mines, which is in Kalgoorlie in the middle of Western Australia. I've spent predominantly my mining time in underground gold mines. Started off in the Goldfields and then ended up working at a mine called Paulson's, which is up in the Pilbara, which is not in operation anymore. And that was Northern Star's founding asset. So I got on the Northern Star bus pretty early when Northern Star was just a sort of shelf company, sort of circa $10 million market cap. And then over the next sort of 11 plus years, we grew Northern Star into I think at one stage it was a plus $15 billion company. So it was an amazing journey for a young professional to be involved in, and really proud of the stuff that we did at Northern Star, taking it from a single asset to a Australian major. And then I left there in sort of the end of or late 2021 and joined Bellevue Gold. I really like the asset that we have at Bellevue, and I've been in the seat here for about a year or just over a year now, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. So just wondering if you can just tell us a little bit about Bellevue Gold as a company, and then we'll speak about some of the projects.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, Bellevue is a startup company. It's grown from a shell as well. So a few years ago, it was less than 6 years ago that Bellevue was actually discovered. So Bellevue is an existing mine that was around in from the 1890s all the way through to the 1990s. It was sort of on and off in operation. And then, a very small company got it. It was actually owned by a nickel company previously and was just used for dewatering a nickel mine, the old asset there. And then Bellevue as a company discovered extensions to the old Bellevue mine and built a significant, high-grade resource off the back of it. It's a single asset. Bellevue is our core focus, and we've gone through that journey of being an exploration company, now a development company, and pretty soon we'll be a gold producer, which we're all super excited about.
Yeah. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about the project? If you can tell us a little bit about the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, mate. So look, it's actually quite a significant project that has been defined. So there's over 3 million ounces of high-grade resource at 10 grams per tonne. It's got a 1.3 million ounce reserve at 6 grams per tonne. And the company's defined a 10-year mine life And this mine life's going to be for the first 5 years of that. It averages 200,000 ounces per annum at $1,000 to $1,100 Australian all-in sustaining costs, which is right at the bottom end of the all-in sustaining cost chart. It's a unique asset in terms of being brownfields, but we're not doing remnant mining in the old areas. We're mining extensions along strike that the old timers were on. And we're mining a hanging wall lode and a footwall lode, which is all virgin ground. And we've only just started defining it from surface. So all of the drilling to date, up to about probably a year ago, has been from the surface. We just started the underground development. We've just got rigs underground now that are drilling it out and adding to that mine life. So we're in a region in Western Australia where similar Archean lode gold deposits average between 5 to 10 million ounce systems. We've got a sort of 3 to 4 million ounce system here now, so we're very confident that once we get underground, we can drill it out, we can extend it, and we're going to be here for a long time. So look, it's something we're pretty excited about, but it's not every day a 200,000 ounce per annum mine in your own backyard becomes comes online, and that's our big target for later this year.
So what's it like being sitting in your first CEO role? Obviously you've been there just over a year now. What's it like? Was it what you expected?
Yeah, look, it's different. I mean, I've come from a much bigger company with multiple assets, and over my time at Northern Star, I spent various roles either running operations or doing the business development side, so mergers, acquisitions, etc. And was able to buy some big projects and sell some projects there, which gave us a good background of experience. But nothing ever prepares you fully for the big role. Coming into a company like Bellevue with one asset sort of simplifies the business that way, but then having a broader role makes it a bit more complex. So you sort of end up in the same spot you were in before in terms of what you're doing on a day-by-day basis. But what I can say is that we've managed to recruit, well, Bellevue already had in place a really high quality team. And then as that team's grown over the past 12 months, managed to recruit some amazing individuals into some into roles, key roles within the company. And really stoked with the team that we have, and the experience that everyone's got here, and everyone's pulling towards the same thing. And the one thing that you realize, and I've realized this a lot over my career, is you can't do everything yourself. You need to surround yourself with the right people that have the right culture and are able to do the job. And we've got an amazing management team here. There's a couple of guys in the leadership team here. So myself, my CFO, my head of operations, and the head of investor relations and sustainability, we're all ex-Northern Star. So we've seen the journey that side, and we're ready to have a crack and apply that to the Bellevue story.
Obviously, you've been with Northern Star for a while. What lessons would you say that you've learned from being with that company? And it's obviously a successful company, and obviously, as you mentioned, some of the management team have come through that. What are some of the lessons that you've learned with Northern Star that you're going to take and bring to Bellevue Gold?
Yeah, look, I think one of the big keys is just looking for constant opportunities to improve. So whether that's improve from an operational perspective, like within your own portfolio, whether that's looking to upskill in terms of your team, your operation, your even your own personal skill sets, but then also having the ability to just take stuff on and be really proactive about the things that you do. I mean, we grew quickly at Northern Star, and I remember we went through this exceptional period of growth where we went from having one asset to having 4 or 5 assets in a 6-month period. And someone used the quote to us, which was, I think it was attributed to Peter Brock, who was a very famous Australian race car driver. And it was bite off more than you can chew, and then chew like hell. So it was a busy time, but really personally rewarding. We grew a lot as people then, and we got to grow a company, which was something that was pretty cool to do.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the native title agreement you recently signed?
Yeah, sure. So we've been working pretty closely with the native title holders from the Bellevue ground. So it's a group called the Chual Aboriginal Corporation, And what's important to any native title holder, certainly in the region that we operate in, is that we're protecting their culture and we're protecting their country, but they're always willing to work with you towards what is going to be a mutually beneficial arrangement. So we went through a process that lasted the best part of 8 months, where we brought lots of people out to site. We told them what we were going to do. We discussed the infrastructure that we were looking to put in place. They had some feedback on that. We used that feedback to even adjust some of the layout of where our processing plant, our infrastructure was going to go, so that we could show that we were listening to them in terms of what we were doing on their country. And we were able to come to what is a very mutually beneficial agreement. In September, we signed a native title agreement and a cultural heritage management plan for the Bellevue project. So, that's a huge enabler for the project and shows everyone that our traditional owner group's on side. But it's also something that is going to be a long-term agreement and makes us, both partners and, really strong partners in the operation.
You mentioned obviously always looking to improve and maybe improve efficiencies. And I know you focus a lot on data analytics. Just wondering if you can just tell us a little bit more around some of the data analytics that you're focusing on with Bellevue Gold.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, what we're using, you get sort of really good opportunities when you build a new mine to be able to, install the right communication systems, to be able to, implement the latest technologies to what you're doing from an underground perspective. And, we sort of talk around the water cooler here at Bellevue that, we don't want to come here and, work long hours and, and only get just middling results. We want to strive to get best in class results in everything that we do. So how do you do that? You've got to measure it. You've got to focus on where the key areas are. You've got to put actions in place to improve things, and and that's kind of the system that we're setting up. So from an underground mining perspective, we brought in this tier 1 contractor, a group called Develop, who are doing the underground mining for us. But we work really closely with them to make sure that plans are in place, schedules are in place. We've got enough work areas. We've got everything going really well in order to get that the high level of performance. So we can get live data in terms of what's being done underground fed up to the surface due to the comm system and due to a software program that we use on site, which is called Live Mine. So Live Mine gives you live data from the mining face back up to the office that you can crunch, and you can look at what you're doing, and then you can target areas of improved performance and keep it turning over that way. So we started underground a couple of years ago. The portal at Bellevue was actually fired back in July, August 2020. So we've been underground for 2.5 years now. A lot of that was just single heading, ventilation restricted, slow going development. Middle of last year, we brought Develop in. The mine plan opened up, so there was more work areas, and we managed to increase our productivities by over 60% with the one jumbo. So we went from doing low 200, so I think it was 210 odd meters per month for one jumbo, up to 350 plus. We've now added a second jumbo in. We're doing 300 meters per jumbo that way. So what that does by getting those extra meters early is it gives you quicker access to your ore body, gives you more ore to the mill earlier, which is a huge driver of increased NPV in one of these operations. So that's really what we're focused on doing, and we'll keep doing that. We're going to crank up here to 4 jumbos later this year, which is it's a very, very busy mine having 4 jumbos operating. But with everything that we're doing, we're still expecting to get awesome results and awesome productivities from all the machines because of the way that we track the data and the way that we plan our days out.
Yeah, and obviously moving on from that, I wonder if you can give us any sort of figures and forecasts that you're looking to achieve this year and going into next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, our big focus now is getting the processing plant built. So because we've got the head start from the underground mining perspective, we've added our 3rd jumbo as of the start of this month, 4th jumbo in Q2 this calendar year. We are, rapidly progressing the build of the processing plant. It's going to be 1 million tonnes per annum. So 3,000 tonne a day for the Canadians and North Americans that listen. And that's quite a significant sort of production rate from what's a narrow vein ore body. But we'll be able to maintain it because we have multiple work areas going. So we're going to have open up 5 to 6 different mining areas and have them ready to go for first production later this year. We're targeting having a 200,000 tonne stockpile sitting on the surface at over 5 grams per tonne for plant commissioning in the second half of this year of 2023. And this is going to allow us to hit that operating run rate of 1 million tonne per annum, and that's what 1 million tonne per annum at 6 grams per tonne, 97% recovery. That's what adds up to your 200,000 ounce per annum run rate. So we get our runs on the board doing that, and then we can look at various avenues to growth beyond that when we reach it.
ESG obviously is an important topic in the mining industry. You're targeting to be net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2026. How are you looking to achieve that?
Yeah, look, it's a very good question. And, I guess, when I was talking about starting a mine right and setting up the infrastructure correctly, it's also something that, just an underground mine, it's also something that we're looking to do as a full operation. So we have a stated aspiration of producing net zero gold by 2026. And how we're going to do that is by, attacking all the different levels of carbon production all through the hierarchy. So the big core of that is a large renewable energy power plant that we're looking to build on site. So that's going to consist of wind turbines, a solar farm, and containerized natural gas for the thermal, with a large battery there that helps out. And with that power station, we're targeting plus 80% renewable energy penetration when averaged throughout the year. So that's huge. There's no other mining operation around, at least in Australia, that's pulling 80% renewable energy penetration through their power station. And that's the station that we're looking to build. So, we'll have the gas, the thermals on for commissioning of the plant. We'll have solar on later this year, the wind turbines in early 2024. And then that allows us to get on that pathway to net zero. We've broken the back from a power perspective. And that's when we start to focus on the mining operations. So we have joined a group called the Electric Mine Consortium, which is based here in Perth in Western Australia. And that is a group of over 10 mining companies, and then a whole bunch of METS companies, so technology companies, that all get together and share data on how to electrify mines. Because when when the sun's shining and the wind's blowing at Bellevue, we're going to be creating a lot of what we call spilled energy, so energy that we just can't use, so it's going to dissipate. So in the future, when we can do things like long-term battery storage, when we can increase the amount of electrification that's on a mine. At the moment, there's some technological barriers that mean that we can't replace some of the diesel equipment that we use. But through the Electric Mine Consortium, or the EMC, our big focus is on hitting all those other parts of the hierarchy to try and mitigate that carbon use at a site level. And then as you go down that hierarchy of control, we've got the power sorted, the mine planning, the mine design, the equipment that we're using, we're going to mitigate as much as we practically can. And then there'll be a small offset component at the end of that. So we'll be offsetting some carbon, some carbon production. And we're looking at how we can do that with the greatest benefit to our local communities. So going to be sort of high quality offsets, based, Australian based, preferentially Western Australian based.
I know you're keen on developing graduates and the younger generation. What plans have you got in place, or what you're looking to do with Bellevue around this?
Yeah, look, so we are, maybe for context, at Northern Star, I used to run all our graduate programs there for a number of years, and we were pulling in upwards of 30 graduates per year and giving them basically apprenticeships, if you like, even as professionals on the, within a mining company, and created an awesome platform, and that's continuing, at Northern Star, and I think they're doing a great job at it. And I'm also a member of the WA School of Mines Alumni Committee. So one of our big focuses there is on, creating industry-ready graduates through the WA School of Mines, attracting more people into mining, and wanting to be involved in mining as an industry, and then finding, placement jobs and graduate jobs through that as an organisation. At Bellevue, we're at the start of that journey. So we've hired our first mining engineering graduate who started not that long ago. We'll probably hire another 2 coming up this year. And, we're looking for, actually, we've got geology graduates on site. When we build the processing plant, we'll get some grads in that way. And, we'll always be looking to bring the next generation in, give them jobs and train them up. And, that's not just the professional side either. The industry in general is growing. Like, there's a lot of competition for people here in Western Australia at the moment. So if you as a company don't have a commitment to, training people, bringing them in and showing them the right way to do things, you're not going to find just, those, experienced people just hanging on as low-hanging fruit out there. You have to actually put the work in. So we're going to do that at Bellevue as well. Yeah.
How are you actually finding attracting people to the industry? And I suppose looking at graduates initially, what is the industry doing to attract more people into mining? Obviously, I asked this question to a number of different guests, obviously around the branding of mining, and obviously people that are not in mining have varied views, and I suppose they have a little bit of a negativity view of mining. What are you seeing? Has things developed over the last few years in trying to attract graduates into the industry, and what have you been doing, or what have you seen the industry been doing to attract people into the industry?
Yeah, so look, I think that there has been a bit of a PR problem for mining for a while now, and when you go and talk to someone who's not associated with the industry on the street, what they think of is a coal miner, coming out, late at the end of the shift with all the soot on their face, and they just think that that's what mining is. And I think that, that's probably a wake-up call for the rest of the industry to actually go, well, wait a second, we actually need to talk about what we do as mining companies, because we have a opportunity now, particularly with the fossil fuel transition period that we're going to go through over the next, couple of years, couple of decades, is that we cannot wean ourselves as a society off fossil fuels without significant mining. So it's now mining can position itself as an opportunity to really help society, which is something that should attract the next generation, and hopefully does. As a gold miner, we're not a battery metals producer, but by going out and saying that, we have a big ESG focus, we want to have, high diversity. We want to produce net zero gold, so a gold bar that you can buy that doesn't have any carbon attached to it. People see that and go, oh, actually, that's an aspiration that aligns with my personal values. And, we've been finding it easier. When we do our interviews now, as we're ramping up, I think we have to hire something like 100 people over the next 6 months as we get closer to building our process plan. When you have interviews with the next generation, so the Gen Zers or whoever they are that are starting to come in, and you say, why Bellevue? What's attracted you to us? And they say, well, look, your ESG focus has attracted me. The opportunity to produce net zero gold, which is something no one's ever done, is something that is attracting me to your company. So, I think, in general, we just have to look out for those opportunities as mining companies to, be a little bit different and focus on the future, and we'll get those good people coming in. From a, I guess a WA School of Mines perspective, we've actually seen an uptick in students studying mining disciplines this year. So enrolled for 2023 going forward, which is amazing to see, because there was a huge lack of people studying mining disciplines a couple of years ago. That even caused a couple of mining schools to close their undergraduate degrees. And I think the Camborne School of Mines closed their undergraduate degrees, which we were really sad to see. as a similar school to WA School of Mines, but based in the UK. And I've got some great friends that I've worked with who are Camborne graduates. But I think that maybe they'll see that it's an opportunity as the numbers at places like WASM go up. That wow, maybe I should put that back on, and get some more people through, because I've hired some great people out of Camborne, as I said, and we've got some great industry colleagues out of Camborne. I was very, very sad to see that undergraduate course close.
Yeah, I think there is some things happening in the background to sort of resurrect that. But yeah, we will wait and see. Funny enough, I actually went down to Cornwall during the summer, and I met up with a handful of graduates, and a few of them are actually going to join Northern Star as part of their graduate program. And they couldn't wait to get over to Australia and start their graduate programs. So yeah, it's something that I suppose companies need to start looking at, and because certainly the graduates are all keen to get that site experience, especially here in the UK where there is limited opportunities. I get candidates, obviously graduates approach me to ask if I can help or give advice. And one of my advices is to because it's easy access to get over to Australia, to go over and start your careers over there. And obviously you're needing a lot of people. So it's something that
global industry, it's easier, with COVID now lifted, it's easier to travel again, it's easier to get around, and there's plenty of jobs in Western Australia. So if you get them on a plane down there on a working visa, it's pretty easy to line up a job these days.
Yeah, obviously this podcast goes all around the world. How is the WA mining market at the moment?
Look, it's actually firing on all cylinders. Typically there'll be one commodity that's up and the other commodities will be down at any one time. But over the last couple of years, what you've seen is new commodities come on, like lithium, for example. Rare earths start to build projects and look for people, and the gold price is still high. The nickel market's still hot. Everyone loves copper and wants to be in that. The iron ore price is still high. They need people. So it hasn't been typical of the last 30, 40 years that every single one of these commodities is going at the same time. And that's what we're seeing. So in a mining focused town like Perth, particularly West Perth. So I'm in a little suburb called West Perth, and it's where all the junior mining companies sort of hang out, and it's as busy as I've ever seen it. So lines up to buy a coffee in the morning and to buy your lunch and do all that. But I think they're all just signs of a really healthy market out here. But what that does is it makes it competitive for talent.
Yeah. And lastly, concluding, what's the outlook for Bellevue Gold for the remainder of this year? And is there anything else that you'd like to add and provide to our audience?
No, so look, the outlook for Bellevue right now is where we are just head down, bum up, working on getting our operation into production. Getting a gold bar out of the Bellevue mine plant is something that we're really focused on and really excited about. That's going to happen later this year, but you can't underestimate. There's a lot of work that needs to go into it. So we're ramping up, we're hiring people, we're having to put the runs on the board to get there. But where we see this opportunity is we get to build a first-class mine, we get to build a team, we get to build a culture, and we really get to build a company. And once we've done that, we've done what we said we can do. We produce this 200,000 ounce per annum run rate. We get it at a low cost, then we create a fantastic platform for future growth. So look, we're all excited and ready to get into it, and it's going to be a big year for us.
Darren, really appreciate your time and give us an update on Bellevue Gold. Wish you well for 2023 and beyond. It sounds like you've got a great asset there, and obviously your experience in working with Northern Star previously, I think will put you in good stead to make a success of this. And I'll be happy for you to come on maybe later in the year to give us give us an update.
Be my pleasure, Rob. Always good to catch up. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And if our audience wants to reach out to you, if they've got any questions or want to follow your story, how can they go about that? And are you across certain social media platforms?
Yeah, so look, mainly LinkedIn for me. We want to show the world what we're doing and give good updates. So jump onto LinkedIn. We have a corporate presentation on the Verify platform. So ASX announcements on the ASX website. You can get company announcements, but we have 3D spin around things you can see on Verify as well, which is a new thing that we've done, which is awesome. So look, feel free to reach out through those platforms.
Yep, and we'll include those in the show notes so people can get easy access to that information. Thank you again. And to the audience, appreciate you for listening. Please keep sharing these episodes. Great story here with Bellevue Gold. So appreciate if you can share this episode to all your friends in the industry, wherever they are in the world, to help educate the mining community globally. Because all of these podcasts that you listen to, there is bits of golden nuggets that you can get from this to help you in your obviously career and develop your career. So appreciate your continued support. And until next time, happy mining.
Thank you for listening. Remember to reach out to Rob via the show notes and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, happy mining, helping each other to improve the mining industry.